Imagine working hard all of your life, paying thousands of pounds in national insurance contributions, only to find out that you have no entitlement to a state pension when you retire. Rumours are currently swirling that the state pension could in fact become means tested. Now, in short, what this means is, depending on how much you have saved or how wealthy you are by the time that you get to retirement, would really depend on how much you are eligible to receive from your state pension. Now, this would be a huge departure from the way that it currently works, where basically you accrue an entitlement to how much you would get when you come to retire from the government. And while this hasn't been confirmed, there are plenty of scary stories out there that this could be on the horizon. So before we dive in, let's recap what the state pension is and how it currently works today. So keeping it really simple, state pension is basically a regular income that is paid to you when you get to retirement age. The government pays it, so it's something that is your right as long as you have accrued enough qualifying years via your national insurance contributions. Now, under current rules, what that means is that you would need 35 qualifying years in total in order to receive the full state pension. And under current rules, the full state pension is around about £230 a week. Stretched out over a year, it's just shy of about £12,000. If you're somebody who gets to state pension age and actually you don't have 35 qualifying years, then you would have actually received a payment that's slightly less than that. And the exception to that rule is if you actually have less than 10 years of qualifying national insurance contributions, in which case you won't be entitled to any state pension at retirement. The other variable, of course, is state pension age, which under current rules is 66, although this is forecast to rise to 67 over the next 3 years or so, and then 68 for those that will be retiring in the 2040s or so. And the really critical thing here is the fact that the relationship between national insurance contributions and your state pension income is really direct and linear. The more national insurance contributions that you have, the higher your state pension capping out at 35 years. But what the rumours are currently indicating is that there will be another consideration for your state pension amount, and that would be your wealth when you get to retirement age. Now, the main reason that these rumours are swirling at the moment, of course, is because the government has a huge budget deficit. And what that basically means is they don't have access to enough money from tax and other ways that they receive income to meet all of their outgoings and needs. And the state pension, of course, is one of the largest outlays that the government actually has. We have an ageing population who are living longer and longer. And if it continues that everybody has this right to the state pension income at retirement, that kind of bill that they have every year is only going to increase. And the concept of means testing is not revolutionary. It exists today. Think of things like the cost of care home fees, where at the moment, if somebody does require care, and they have very little by way of savings or investments or pensions, then ultimately the government covers that cost. However, for those that do have access to significant wealth, then the cost falls to them, even at amounts as much as £2,000 per week. And so early ideas about what means testing a state pension could look like, you could probably look to the care planning system as an indication of how the government could apply these kind of rules. Ultimately, they would be taking stock of somebody's total pension wealth, total savings, total access to investments, summing that up and coming up with a number. And if that number is over a certain threshold, then what the government could do is actually prorate down the amount of state pension that someone could receive. Now, really importantly, this has not been confirmed. These are pure rumours. And if I'm honest, I think it's pretty unlikely that this kind of change would come in anytime soon. Ultimately, the state pension is seen as a right to so many people because you are accruing and paying for it year by year. But at the same time, it's a significant outlay and cost. So some changes should be expected to how the state pension is either paid or increased in value over time. And that's where there are some other ideas which potentially are slightly more likely that the government could do here, which aren't necessarily means testing that payment. And some of the easier, maybe lower hanging fruit that the government could do are things like changing the state pension age. As our kind of environment and population gets slightly older, what the government could say is actually we're going to increase it from 68 to say 70 or 72. And that way they would be saving themselves millions of pounds per year in payments that they might be making. In addition to that, another obvious culprit for where the government could make some changes, of course, is around something called triple lock. And what that basically means is, as of right now, all people who receive a state pension, their annual kind of income from that pension will increase at a rate of one of three things. And those three things are the average increase in national earnings, inflation and how that's increasing, or 2.5%. Whichever of those is the highest, the state pension income will increase by that much. And that's a hugely powerful benefit for state pensioners. But again, it comes at a huge cost for the government. So that's another area that they could tackle instead of means testing the payment that might come in, which I think would be politically very, very dangerous. Now, what should you do with all of this information? Similar to before in many of my other videos, it's really important that we don't act on anything until it becomes true or reality. These are pure rumours at this stage, and the purpose of this video is really to give you a bit of an insight and thinking about, okay, what might be and how that could impact planning. But as with all things, let's control what's in front of us. Make sure our pension contributions are in the right place. Make sure you're thinking through your financial plan and what your retirement might potentially look like in the future. And if you need any help or questions with those, just send me a message.